Let's bring the conversation home and talk about Bidvest. Because, of course, after the split between Bidvest and Bidcorp, with Bidcorp being the food services business, we now have Bidvest retained here on our local market. It's done pretty well, though, since the split. We'll have a look at the chart in a bit. Market capitalization is reduced after the separation to 45.2 billion rand. Dividend yield of 7.15%, but I think that could be the whole of the dividend of the previous business, and that's likely to be lower, so we'll have to guess what that is. Price to earnings ratio, again, is low because it's reflecting only the market cap relative to the last earnings.
Correct,
so that'll also rebase.
Yeah.
What's your calculation of the potential future?
Forward P of around 11.8, so it's been in that sort of 11 to 12 range. So higher than, say, an Imperial, which you may be a comparable. It's got a more defensive asset base, less cyclical, and quite evenly exposed to the South African economy. The car dealership business is a bigger part of that.
Talk to me about the assets, because people can sometimes get a bit confused. The main assets, and it's business to business because it does some stuff like security and cleaning and stationery and so on. But tell us about which are the major parts?
So the dealerships that I mentioned, that's McCarthy's, and then the other big business that we haven't mentioned is logistics in the form of freight.
Right.
That's called Panalpina. Yes. So that's quite reliant on import-export activity. They're expected to do quite well there because of all the grain imports as a result of the drought. So expected to have quite a strong second half year. Because they were a bit soft and then all the other business services that you mentioned, including stationery, Waltons, they've got, and some retail as well. They've also started to do further acquisitions. They bought Brand Corp, which is a consumer and industrial products.
What's in there?
Industrial products to Matus, power tools, and consumer products, a few consumer brands, including luggage.
So
it's a balance.
And that kind of stuff.
That's correct. They bought that from Ethos. So I think the market quite happy that post the unbundling and the split, they immediately announced some acquisitions, which I think is helping with the rating a bit.
However, the auto business we know is prone to cycles. It's affected by the rand. It's affected by cycles in terms of people's affordability of vehicles and the affordability also in terms of obtaining credit and so on and so forth. So that's an industry that's looked a little bit weak lately.
Yes, new car sales are down fairly dramatically, over 10% year on year. It could feel some pressure there. I think generally the car dealership groups have done a good job of diversifying and making services and parts a bigger part of their business, which is much less cyclical. And also you have to look at the second-hand car market. That's been more buoyant.
Are active in the Birchmoors and all that.
That's right,
Look, the share chart's probably going to be a bit of a horse's ass. What's going on there? That's because this is the chart. What is that?
So you're backing out the value, I guess, of the Bidcorp part of the business.
Do you think that's what they've done in that chart?
Yes, and it's there was a significant
software is
re-rating.
intelligent enough to have done that? I'm not sure. That's the current trading price of the Bidvest that's left, so that's the correct chart. But how they got the prior history, I'm wondering.
Well, yes, they obviously took out the fixed
value of the share.
Yes, probably at the day of the unbundling.
I must stop being rude about our charting software because that's quite an effort.
There was a re-rating post the unbundling. So
now I want to ask you one more important question. Brian Joffe, who everybody loves. He's like the South African Warren Buffett. He is part of the team at Bidcorp, and apparently, and it was revealed, I don't know, in Sen's announcements, prior to this separation, he has sold shares that he owned in Bidvest and bought a few more Bidcorps. And I know that historically there was talk that there was some friction between him and the residual management team of the Bidvest portion under the CEO leadership now of Lindsay Rolfs.
Yes.
But is that significant at all, or is that just him backing himself? Should you read too much into that?
Well, I think it is the post-Joffe era for Bidvest.
Yes.
Obviously, it's under new leadership, so you're going to have to evaluate it under Lindsay Rolfs and their team. I think you were getting to a point where there needed to be a split because the businesses were becoming distinct, I guess, going in different directions.
And it has unlocked tremendous value.
Absolutely.
So it was a great move by the board.
And I think the fact that you have a now standalone focused industrial business that is more coherent on its own, has the ability to do its own acquisitions, also potential for offshore expansion, I think is net positive for the Bidvest business.
Okay, now in the hot stocks portfolio, we had the old Bidvest. When it split, we sold the Bidvests, I can't remember, not at a particularly good price, I don't think, and we bought more Bidcorps, also not at a particularly good price. Since then, it's all sort of settled out. Bidcorp's moved higher and it's all looking okay. But what would you regard the Bidvest portion that's left? Is it hot or not for you at current prices?
As I say, I think focused, they'll be able to use the capital in their own business, where it was previously feeding the Bidcorp business, and invest in acquisitions. So I think it's got good potential going forward. I'm positive about it.
You're going to call it hot? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with not hot. I'm just mentally of the view that, you know, Bidcorp was the piece that we wanted, and what's left, maybe it's going to take a while before the market finds its mojo in that regard.